Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I am your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, in an unfortunate turn of events, Iran breached Pakistan's sovereignty, territorial integrity on 16th of January this year. Iran launched missile and drone attacks in Panjgur, Balochistan. As a result, 2 innocent children martyred while injured 3 others. Pakistan at very first juncture protested Iranian belligerent act, summoned their charge d'affaires to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, downgraded diplomatic relations with Iran by recalling Pakistan's ambassador to Tehran and also expelling their envoy to Tehran. Pakistan cancelled all future engagements and bilateral visits with Tehran. But despite of that, this signaling, Iranian media was showing all these events proudly, while their ministers and high-ups were making justification of this event. Now, soon after that, Pakistan launched a successful operation, Marg-bar Sarmachar. And during that operation, Pakistan strikes the hideouts of terrorists of belongs to a Balochistan Liberation Army and Balochistan Liberation Front. After this, whole of the world condemned Iranian act, including European Union, US, Turkey. They are stressing upon restraint. While China and United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres offered their good offices for mediation between Pakistan and Iran. Now, experts still don't believe that why Iran initiated such a belligerent act on 16th of January. Because all of the communication channels were available and Iran not utilized all those. There are lots of other questions prevail. To address all these questions and to discuss this important topic today, we have in our studios Dr. Jaish Shamsi. He is a senior analyst. Thank you very much, sir, for your arrival here in studios. And viewers, we have online joining us Brigadier Retired Hamid Rashid Malik. He is the senior analyst as well. So most welcome to you, sir, as well. My first question, Dr. Shamsi, to you. Pakistan and Iran has the very cordial and brotherly relations in between. But why this 16th January event happened?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Faisal, thank you very much. You've already said that it's a very unfortunate occurrence. The only reason which I see is the arrogance on part of Iranian leadership, which is based on its immense wealth Allah Ta'ala has bestowed on in terms of hydrocarbons, number one, and number two, their old and very proud civilization. I am also very fond of that civilization, but that does not allow them to behave like this with a neighbor, perhaps with the only neighbor which has been supporting them along the history, like RCD and all those. I don't have to recount. It's a very old relationship. It's a very cordial relationship.
That turned into ECO and all that.
Everything, everything. And we value Iran's civilization. And we treat them as, we consider them as one of the very close friends. But perhaps, this is my view only. I mean, our national anthem is in Persian.
Yes.
And perhaps Iranian thought that Pakistan is an Iranian colony and they will get away with whatever they do. Characteristically, Pakistan has always exercised restraint, and we have never responded to any aggression which was beyond any cause, and this one has no justification.
So lots of people, analysts and experts, they are questioning that why Iran has not utilized those communication channels available.
Arrogance, simple arrogance. They thought that, well, it is our right. No, it is not your right. We also know that you have training camps. And we
Syria,
have
Iraq,
responded.
Lebanon, they were in their
That's-
mind, or might be Yemen or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. They thought that they are attacking Iraq. They thought that they are attacking Syria because they have done that one
They
day
have
before.
done. They have done.
Isn't it? They thought Pakistan is also in the same plate. No, my dear. Pakistan has always responded to such aggressions or such initiations by any of its neighbours. One can recall 1998 atomic test by India. We responded in kind, isn't it? How about Balakot? Less than 48
Yes,
hours?
definitely,
Less
definitely.
than 48 hours? Here also, little over 24 hours, isn't it? Why did Iran think that Pakistan will not respond?
And soon after that escalation, what Iran did, they have thought that even their media was depicting that it's going to be a great victory, and their high-ups were actually giving justifications, what the call made by the Iranian FM to our caretaker FM. It was like that. So how do you see that aspect? And soon after that, when Pakistan responded, so then they calmed down a little, and they felt some sort of a pressure from outside world.
Yes. First of all, any philosopher or leader from Iran should tell me how this attack was different than US attack on Abbottabad. How was it different? US came to perhaps arrest or kill a known or alleged terrorist. Here you have killed my 2 daughters, injured 3 children. Who is responsible now? Have you shown any remorse, any regret? No, because arrogance. They are very arrogant.
And even Pakistan given 24 hours to Tehran to at least respond to what they have done.
Absolutely. And Pakistan always does that. In the Balakot response also, Pakistan gave more than 24 hours. But Indians started to boast. Here again the same case. Why? Because Iranians are very close to India. Isn't it? Because Chanakya Kautilya's precepts.
I'll come to this point, but also here that Operation Markbar Samachar, that was very successful operation executed by Pakistan Armed Forces. How do you see this operation particularly, and those terrorists who have taken refuge in Sarawan, in Sistan, Balochistan, at the Iranian soil?
Alhamdulillah, Pakistan Armed Forces have the capability, credibility and political will, politico-military will to respond to any aggression on its territorial integrity and sovereignty. So these operational plans are always ready. They only need a go ahead, and they are executed, alhamdulillah, immaculately, without any fratricide, any collateral damage, precision strike, dead on the target.
It was specific, targeted and well coordinated.
Alhamdulillah.
Well coordinated.
Alhamdulillah. This is the beauty of Pakistan's armed forces, that whenever they are conducting military operations, they are on the same page. Why? 2500 years ago, Sun Tzu had said that if all elements of the military are not on the same page, you cannot win a war. Here, Army and Air Force, alhamdulillah, they coordinate and they collaborate and they sit together, plan operation. They plan the operation together.
Yeah, definitely. Tri-services coordination is always up to the mark.
No. That is something else. Coordination is something else. Here it is the planning.
Planning.
And
Hardcore
execution. Nitty-gritty. The targeting comes from the intelligence. Okay. The request is generated by GHQ. Air Force plans it with their brothers in army, and the moment go ahead is given, it goes and executes. And you know, when the Air Force executes, Pakistan Air Force.
Pakistan Air Force
when
executes.
Pakistan Air Force, Alhamdulillah, executes.
It always pinpointed at the target.
It is pinpointed,
No
it is
doubt.
on the dot, and it achieves the desired result, Alhamdulillah.
And fortunately without any collateral damage.
Alhamdulillah.
And that's good.
Alhamdulillah.
After Pakistan's operation, this particular operation, Marg Bar Sar Machar, do you think that Iran exposed, because Pakistan was always stressing upon that Iran must take action all those terrorist organizations and terrorists who have taken refuge at its soil, but Iran never did that, never done that. So do you think that Iran exposed now because those were killed, because, and they have acknowledged as well, they are acknowledging that those were foreigners, and that was the pinpointed attack on those people who have taken refuge from the last many years over there?
Pakistan could have been done this much before, but Pakistan never wanted to escalate. Pakistan never wanted to initiate an attack on a friendly state, on a friendly neighboring state, isn't it?
Definitely.
However, Iran forced, or let me say, Iran asked for it, and it was done.
So
And
most of the
seamlessly, effortlessly, and very precisely, and this is how PAF does it.
Definitely, and most of the people just calling that we don't have to just shut the diplomatic channels.
No,
So
no,
what do
no,
you say about it?
No. I am a peace promoter. I refer war, WAR, as waste of available resources.
No doubt about
Isn't it?
Yes.
I would again humbly request to both the leadership to give diplomacy a chance. We have very, very intelligent and professional diplomats at the helm of the affairs at this time. Give him a chance.
They have always make us proud at every
Always.
juncture, really.
Always, because the military has done it. There are two things only between any two neighbors or any two rivals: diplomacy and deterrence. Anyone fails, the other must work to avoid or avert war. Let's say, for a while, deterrence failed, for a while. So they attacked us. We have re-established through our response. Now let the diplomacy work again.
Definitely.
All right.
But now the thing is that this is not the first time Iran has done such a belligerent act. Iran done nothing on first missile attack on November 25th in 2013. Then in July 2017, then again last year January and April 2023, when the terror attacks on Pakistani security forces in Panjgur and Khyber areas. Pakistan asked to take stern action against all those, bring them to justice, at least those were responsible, but Iran has done nothing on that. So what about, because Iran is not taking responsibility of anything?
That's what I said in the beginning, that Pakistan waited for a very long time. It could have responded much earlier. But Pakistan was giving them time to respond, to act in a responsible manner. The same we do with the Afghanistan also. That please you take action, because the states are responsible for the behavior of non-state actors also, if they are doing it against a sovereign state from their territory. And I don't want to predict, but time is not too far when Afghanistan will also have to suffer for this, because Pakistan has its plate full and we have had enough from our neighbors, and therefore we will respond now.
So
Without compromising
yes.
on our national interest, we will not initiate. I will again say, we will not initiate, but we will not keep quiet now.
So, Dr. Shamsi, do you think that is it a right way for any state across the world that they should initiate some sort of preemptive strikes in the name of self-defense or something like that? So, at any other sovereign state, like in this case, Iran initiated that against Pakistan. So, do you think that in a modern world, in a civilized world, this is the way to act?
Of course not. Of course not. Only arrogant states, revisionist states do things like this. Why Pakistan does not do it? Why there are so many other states they don't do it? Why should Iran follow into the footsteps of the United States? Who does it? Or Russia did it in few cases. Why? Iran all by itself is surrounded by conflicts, and in many parts of the world, especially in Middle East, Iran is responsible for initiating such acts. Why? Hasn't this particular act harmed the cause of Palestinians
Yes.
and Gazans?
Very
Isn't it?
unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Yes.
I have been saying that we are already at World War 2.5, which can expand to 3. Let's say Iran does it again. What will happen? Don't you think that it will the conflict will expand? It will expand, isn't it? So let diplomacy now. I will not say that let's forget it, because we will not forget it.
Yes, definitely, we will not. We cannot even.
But we can move forward. Okay? Let diplomacy take charge once again, and let armed forces be at the back of diplomacy.
Yeah, definitely, well elaborated, Shamsi Sahab. Brigadier retired Hamid Rashid Malik Sahab, do you think that Iran was still the people are confused, surprised even that why Iran has done so? Because just a day or two prior, Pakistan Navy and Iranian Navy has the joint exercises there in the Strait of Hormuz and in the Gulf, as well as some 3 days prior, Iranian special envoy was here in Pakistan on Afghanistan, and very fruitful discussions we have bilaterally. So, what happened at the critical juncture? Why Iran initiated such an act?
To my reckoning, I think Iran was not only confused, rather it was intoxicated by its newfound encouragement of US taking Iran as some regional power, and Iran also flexing its muscles against Syria, against Iraq. They were also having a rush of blood that they thought that they can do any act in the region. And here what we see that they also miscalculated that Pakistan military prowess, as well as being a neighboring country, how dangerous is more important to Pakistan's sovereignty and its geographical integrity. And that way, when now we see that Iran is responsible act of cross-border airspace violation, as well as killing of Pakistani national, is an, I think, against all international conventions, as well as going as an act of war, because it is an international boundary. It is international border. What we see in case of India, it was line of control. So crossing line of control is not an act of war, but crossing international border is considered internationally as an act of war. But here, the difference between Iranian strike and Pakistani strike is that Iranian killed Pakistani nationals, but Pakistan's response was intelligence-based operation, very calculated, very proportionate, and it also was against the terrorists which were Pakistani nationals, fled to Iran and having saved centuries in Afghanistan and also in Iran, and they in Pakistan, in Balochistan.
Your point well taken. Dr. Shamsi, when we are talking about Pakistan-Iran relations, just recently we have witnessed that Indian Foreign Minister Subramaniam J. Shankar has a visit to Tehran, and soon after this happened. Is it any connection to that? Why is it so? And soon after, Indian Foreign Office released a statement that any state has the right to have self-defense or act against the terrorism. What sort of connection they have, although they have historical relations in between and lots of pacts also?
It is the political philosophy of Chanakya Kautilya that was coined some 2500 years ago, that neighbor's neighbor should be your friend, so that you can encircle the neighbor. And that's what India thinks, that it should have very close relationship with Iran as well as Afghanistan. Isn't it? And that's what it tried. But Iran forgot that they are doing it against Pakistan. So India may have used Iran for their purpose to test the preparation or the war preparedness of Pakistan, because perhaps 5 years have passed since Balakot, and they have got the Rafale and S-400
and Indian elections are also on.
Indian elections are on. So they thought that we will not do it, let's do it through Iran. Perhaps. I am not directly blaming them, but a connection can be made. And Iran may have been used, because Iran thought that they are a power to reckon with in the region. They can bomb Syria anytime, they can bomb Iraq anytime, they can support Houthis who are bombing the shipping industry in the Red Sea, they can support Hezbollah, which can do anything. So Iran, as I said in the beginning, it is sheer arrogance. And when you are arrogant, then you do not do calculations, because you think you don't need to. But this is, my dear, this is Pakistan.
Well elaborated, Dr. Shamsi. Thank you very much for your presence here in the studios. Viewers, we have joined senior analyst Dr. Ishtiaq Ahmed in our studios. Most welcome to you, sir. And you are witnessing what is happening between Tehran and Islamabad, and the events which are unfolding. It is very unfortunate that both countries are neighbors, having close connections, close interactions and all relations in between. But unfortunately, what happened? So how do you see, how you bifurcate the events, and what is happening, why it is happening, what's the reason behind?
Well, Faisal, to start with, this is a very unfortunate turn of events. We have had bitter ties with India, with Afghanistan, and sometime with Iran as well. But taking this issue to this level, and in fact, as your previous guest pointed out, to the level where you really violate the territorial integrity and sovereignty of our neighbor, with which you have had very, very good relations, ever since Pakistan became independent. This is quite unfortunate. And I think history provides the answer to what is happening today. And when I say history, it is the history of what has happened in Iran since 1979. It's very important to make a distinction between the people and the regime. It's because we have a regime next door, which is now almost 44, 45 years old.
Yes.
It came into power to export revolution in the surrounding regions, including South Asia and the Middle East. And throughout these 45 years, we have had almost around half of this period where reformist political leadership has led Iran. So Rafsanjani was in power from 1989 to 1997, but the last part of his regime, we can say that he was a reformist person. He came to attend the 1997 extraordinary Islamic summit in Islamabad, which was held to commemorate the 50-year anniversary of Pakistan's birth. And then there was a Saudi-Iranian, reconciliation with Pakistani mediation afterwards. And then we had, almost 8 years of Khatami and 4 years of Rouhani. But in between we had Ahmadinejad and currently, the current, president Raisi since 2001. So 2021. So what we have seen during this period is that the reformists have been unable to change the course of the regime in domestic political context as well as in foreign policy. And the hardliners, which is currently the situation, they have pushed for an agenda which creates instability around Iran, especially in the Middle East. And of course, in Pakistan also we have seen its implications. So this part of Iran, which is really fractional politics taking place in the country, the hardliners in the last few years have really reasserted themselves. And
whatever is happening, it is because of the hardliners and the regime which is there in Tehran.
Yes.
Well said. Well said. We have Brigadier Retired Hamid with us. Brigadier Hamid, how do you see, because the events which are going on at the international border, and whenever Iran stressed upon Pakistan, first of all started fencing of the international border, then along with that conducted hardcore military operations as well, and shared lots of hardcore intelligence with the Iranian counterparts and the military officials and the intelligence officials. So why it is happening that just leaving all these channels and going towards escalation?
It's really surprising, not for international community and Pakistan, but whosoever is present in the region. And there, I think either the Iranian higher authorities and their military was confused, or they were intoxicated by their newfound some regional pair status as far as Middle East is concerned, especially the Houthis attacks in the Red Sea and being sponsored and supported by Iran, and Americans their restraint for taking any action against Iran as militarily. And I think they had conducted their missile attacks against Syria and Iraq, and they thought that Pakistan would be like that country. What they forgot that Pakistan is a nuclear responsible country, and deterrence is the cornerstone of our sovereignty as well as our geographical integrity. So any airspace violation, either it is from India or Iran, has to be responded. And I think Pakistan has been very accurate in carrying out intelligence-based operation against Iran, and also signaling that Pakistan deterrence cannot be compromised, and deterrence is the cornerstone of our security.
Brigadier Ahmed, that intelligence-based operation, the airstrike was not actually against Iran, that was against those terrorists hiding at the Iranian soil. So when we are talking about particularly the series of events are there, that lots of other attacks, the rocket attacks, the missile attacks, the firing and the terrorist incidents at our military at the Iranian Pak-Iran border. Along with that, we can never forget the Indian intelligence, Indian raw operative and serving Indian Navy commander Kulbhushan Sudhir Yadav, who was stationed in Chabahar with the name of Hussain Mubarak Patel at the fictitious passport, crossed over into Pakistan, and he was captured red-handed. And do you not think that there are lots of connections between Iran and India as well, when the Indian foreign minister was there in Tehran when that attack was initiated?
Surely, this was the point I was trying to make also, as you all very correctly highlighted, that like Afghanistan, Iran's soil is also being utilized by India and also through proxies created by India to stage terrorism in Pakistan. And Chabahar port, while they are trying India that it is for the economic cooperation with Iran and for Central Asia, but on this disguise, what India is trying to do is to have some footprints in Iran to destabilize Pakistan, and also the Indian spies are working there. And also what we have seen that now the Indian foreign minister being in Iran trying to forge a regional strategic partnership, but on this disguise, what I think that they must have also intoxicated the Iranian authorities that Iranian should flex their military muscles and they should also have some hegemonic attitude in the region, which I think is going
your point well taken, Brigadier Hamid. Dr. Ishtiaq, when we are just comparing our neighbours, India facilitating, abetting and using state terrorism as a state policy, then Afghanistan giving refuge to all terrorist organizations, and the same terrorist organization is getting refuge in Iran as well. So what is the difference between Tehran and others?
Well, as far as the Iranian-Indian collusion is concerned, I think there is a historical evidence. And of course, Afghanistan and Iran, particularly because Afghanistan has been unstable, for a long period of time, these two countries have been used by nefarious elements to create instability and sustain it, not only just in Balochistan, but in the rest of the country. And we have a clear-cut evidence of the involvement of external agencies, particularly RAW in India, and the intelligence outfits in Iran and Afghanistan, especially when pre-Taliban period, which were involved in terrorist activities and promoting extremism across the country. But I would go back to the previous point that I was trying to make, that basically given the assertion of hardliners in Iran, which is Khamenei, Guardian Council, and especially the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It has this Al-Quds force, which was massively engaged in the Middle East, and Qasem Soleimani actually was the person, is the architect of this force, and then he was killed in an American airstrike back in 2019 in Iraq. So the point is that Iran's involvement in regional proxy warfare has a history of 40 years, and it has brought a lot of pain and suffering across the Gulf and the Middle East among countries which are very close to us, like Saudi Arabia.
Because this whole scenario has now created a turbulent region for Pakistan as well.
Absolutely.
So why this is happening? Why neighboring countries are not ready to cooperate with Pakistan? This is the least integrated region. So how it would be, how it is going to unfold?
Well, let me argue, frankly speaking, I know there is a, constituency here also, because of our sectarian sensitivities. We should be very careful in our analysis, and I think we should keep the people of Iran, before everything else when we try to analyze this very sensitive situation.
Yes.
This is a country whose regime and people supported Pakistan during the 1965 and 1971 war.
No doubt, no doubt about it.
Never forget this.
Yes.
And we have nothing with, nothing, against the Iranian people.
No, definitely. Our anthem is in Persian.
We sympathize with the Iranian people that they have been able to bear this repressive order in the last 4 decades or so. And I think ultimately this factionalism in Iran and its violent expressions across Iran's frontiers, now crossing into Pakistan as well, I think ultimately this will contribute to the situations which will be in favor of the Iranian people, our brothers and sisters.
No doubt that the Iranian people have always sacrificed for Pakistan, and they are very close to Pakistanis' hearts, because both countries are just like one nation, because there is no doubt about it. But the regime is not actually turning into it. They are not retrospecting what they are doing actually. So how do you see the Chinese and United Nations Secretary Generals offer their good offices for mediation between Pakistan and Iran? Do you think that there would be no more escalation and it would be turned into a peaceful region?
Well, given our historical public-centric relationship with Iran, we should exercise maximum restraint, as the Chinese are asking, or of course the UN Secretary General would appeal. But this does not mean that, you know, the regime in Iran, and especially the hardliners who are leading it, should cross some limits. You know, there are red lines to the conduct of a neighbor as far as Pakistan is concerned. Pakistan is not a small entity in South Asia. It is the only nuclear power in the Muslim world, and it has a, you know, a proud legacy of contributing to peace and security in South Asia and the rest of the world. It fought two major wars next door in Afghanistan back in the 80s, and just one concluded after 20 years in our neighborhood after the Second World War. So it's not a, you know, like, so I think Iranian
Thank you
regime.
very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Ishtiaq, for your presence here in the studios. We have run short of time. Thank you very much for that. Viewers, you have already listened to our panelists, and it is important that we should have to work on peace, tranquility and stability in the region. Pakistan and Iran must have to think about it as China and United Nations Secretary General appeal for a restraint and having dialogue in between. So Pakistan and Iran must have to give diplomacy a chance. Pakistan is always propagating peace, and Pakistan wants peace and no more escalation, but Iran has to think about it. This is today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz wa Nasir.